And this is Guy for Kingdom Solutions for South Africa. It's always a privilege to be able to share thoughts with you. I've walked my whole life looking at situations saying, God, there must be a better way. I remember when I was a young man, I went straight from university. I got a degree in graphic design. And an elder from the church who was an entrepreneur and a businessman himself, he said to me, Guy, don't go and work for another company. Go and start your own, because you will learn what they won't teach you. If you go and work for somebody else, it'll take you 5 years, 10 years to be promoted up the ranks. Whereas you create your own business, those situations will come directly to you. The experience that would take you 10 years to gain will knock on your door within the first week, the first month, and so on. He said you will learn so much more. So with that in mind, I started my own business. And it was a hard ride. I got knocked around, I got beaten up, I got ripped off. But guess what? I learned, because in those situations, as I was watching people negotiate with me, as I was watching them try to get a pound more of flesh out of me whilst paying a penny less to me, I would sit at that and I would look at this and I'd be praying and I'd be saying, God, there must be a better way than this. And that was my prayer, because every time I saw this greed come out of people, this mammon system come out of people, I would say, God, there must be a better way. Please show me a better way. Well, that leads to a vision of how things can be. And when you don't have a vision of how things can be, you don't reach for the vision. So we will see this, for example, this is happening on this side of the ocean, where you have laws have been passed to help single mothers and to give them quite a substantial paycheck if they don't have a father in the house. So in other words, if you're an unwed mother, then they say, well, we've got to support you so you don't become destitute. Well, the support is so substantial that it behoves the mother to have lots of children without the fathers, because that translates into, I never need to work again. And it's creating a huge social problem. Well, you have your children are growing up in that situation, and their modeling from the parent to them is a modeling of use the system, then you don't have to work. Abuse the system and you can get away with not having to work ever. And it's all given to you. That is creating huge social problems. These children are growing up with no vision. They have no vision of wanting to build something better, something greater, something stronger for themselves. Similarly, when we as Christians sit in pews week after week, month after month, year after year, without a kingdom vision, there is nothing within us that stirs us to reach for something better. And so we get traded off something which, oh, well, I don't need to make the effort. This is cool. This is comfortable. So why should I reach for something better? And that is what I see happening with almost all of the church. The church doesn't know who it is. It doesn't understand its kingdom identity. It doesn't understand the cost that it is paying, that the society will pay, that the country will pay by not being connected to its kingdom vision. You've got to have a vision of the kingdom. And the vision of the kingdom is awesome. So let me just paint a vision of the kingdom for you in the form of short questions. How would you like to live in a South Africa where there is an abundance of employment? How would you like to live in South Africa where there is peace? How would you like to live in South Africa where trust and good fellowship and community reigns rather than mistrust and violence and dog eat dog and murder and mayhem? As I'm asking you these questions, what I'm doing is I'm creating in you the vision of the kingdom that we can reach for. But if we don't reach for it, we will never get there. How about a South Africa where education, instead of dumbing people down, actually liberates them, actually makes children who are self-confident, able to express themselves, hold their own in the debate, who are intelligent, who can see things, who can discern truth, rather than just being sheeple, being chased around by every whim and fancy? How would you like to live in a South Africa where instead of dog-eat-dog pyramids, which are described in the previous video, instead of building those where it's dog-eat-dog and competition, how would you like to live in a South Africa where the wealthiest are sharing their wealth? Not because it's communism, not because it's socialism, but because the communities learn to structure these enterprises in a way that they can all benefit from it. How would you like to live in a South Africa where there's no need for crime? How would you like to live in a South Africa where the Lord is appreciated and God is praised? How would you like to live in a South Africa where there isn't overreach, where you don't have to live in fear of some jackboot coming on your neck and kicking down your door? Can you understand? The vision of the kingdom is superior, but it's not there for you if you won't reach for it. And in order to reach for it, you need to understand that it is not that difficult. It is actually not that difficult. The strategy is there and God gives it to us. But in order to take hold of it, we need to get our butts off the pews. We need to get our hearts off this helpless, well, I'm just going to sit, and I'm just going to see how it's going to work out. That's not the way, guys. That's really not the way. God calls you to be vibrant, calls you to be full of life. He calls you to be creative. Our God's a creator. If we have a problem, we need to learn to go to him and say, God, you are creator. You have made me creative. Help me understand how to create the solution for the problem. We don't teach this in our churches. So we don't teach, so we have no vision. And that is the problem with South Africa. It's a problem that can be overcome if the heart is willing and the spirit is humble. If my people will humble themselves and pray, I will heal their land. Now in closing, I just want to say something about that and scriptures like that. We like to quote those scriptures because they've got kind of a warm, fuzzy feel about them. But what we don't like to think about is there's a practical application which requires us to make an effort and requires us to actually do work. So as God says, I will heal your land, yes, but I'm not going to rain loaves of bread out of the sky for you, although there's miraculous incidences of that. And by the way, there's apparently a country where manna is literally being provided for God's people at the moment. But that's another story. But what I'm saying to you, and the point I'm making, is God won't do for you what God has assigned for you to do for yourself. And one of the first aspects of assignment to you, South Africa, is that you must be willing to come to the table, to get off the pew, get off your butt, and say, I'm going to embrace this future in the kingdom. May God bless you. I hope that inspires you in some way. I know it's tough. I know it's rough. I know there's a lot of negativity out of there. But I also know we have to start somewhere. And we can try the old formulas, the poke it in the eye formula, oh, you stupid formula, or let's go burn a tire, or let's go riot, or whatever. You can try that. And how's that improved your life? You're still stuck. It's been tried for hundreds and thousands of years. It's never improved anything at the end of the day. Or we can turn the other way, which says, God, let's look in the mirror of truth, because my heart has to change in order to come into alignment with your heart. And when your heart comes into alignment with God's heart, now heaven can start speaking to you and giving you those creative solutions and ideas. But you've got to get your butt off the pew, because your butt pulls your heart down, and heaven is up there. And the only way to get there is you've got to stand up and walk so you can make that connection. God bless you. Hope this helps in some way. And I'm praying for you. Let's work together. Let's come to the table. Let's make a difference.